One of the big victories that Ukraine has achieved is actually to be able to push back the Russian Black Sea fleet and to destroy many of their ships, and also then ensure the open corridor from Odessa and all the way to Bosporus. Also working closely with NATO allies, littoral states, Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. And this shows the strength, the skill, the competence of the Ukrainian armed forces, but also the importance of delivery of advanced weapons from NATO allies. So some of the missiles, some of the systems that has been so critical in opening this corridor has been, of course, provided by NATO allies. This is important for Ukraine, it's important for the Black Sea, but it's also important for the world.
This is my video update on this Thursday, midday, March the 14th. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the TikTok divestment bill, which passed the House yesterday. 352 votes for, 65 against, and now the bill goes to the Senate, where it is expected to pass in the Senate as well. This is a bipartisan bill, which means it's a uniparty bill. And basically what it is saying is that it will prevent TikTok from appearing in app stores, Google Play and Apple app stores, unless TikTok is fully divested from its Chinese-owned parent company, ByteDance. And TikTok will have 6 months to fully divest, or else no more app stores for TikTok in the United States. And we're talking about a huge social networking app, a huge app in general, one of the top apps in both of the app stores, something like 140 million US users. That's what TikTok has. This is a very, very big application, if not the biggest social networking, social media application. But it has 6 months to transfer everything over to a friendly buyer or a friendly entity. And this is theft, man. This is mafia tactics theft. That's all this is. Transfer your business to a US friendly entity, or else we're going to shut you down in the United States. If you're a foreign business and you want to do business in the United States, say you're a foreign-owned mobile application, and you want to launch in the United States, this is terrifying, because today it's TikTok and tomorrow it could be you. If you're a mobile app operating out of Saudi Arabia, for example, and one day the Biden White House or whatever White House wakes up and they say that Saudi Arabia is now part of BRICS, so it's on the enemies list, and this application from Saudi Arabia is operating in the US, and we can't have any of that. So transfer over all of your business to the United States, divest in Saudi Arabia, or else we're shutting you down. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible idea, this TikTok divestment bill. An absolutely terrible idea. And I know a lot of people say that Chinese-owned TikTok, it's spying on Americans, it's surveilling Americans. China's using this information to destroy America from within. Come on, man. Come on now. You think that TikTok is responsible for the decline? No, TikTok's not responsible for the decline. TikTok is no more of a cesspool of content than Instagram. Instagram is just as much of a cesspool of content as is Facebook, as is OnlyFans. I mean, you want to talk about a cesspool of content? OnlyFans. There's a cesspool of of content. That's a terrible influence on the youth of America, if you want to take it like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if companies like Facebook are kind of behind the scenes pushing for this blocking of TikTok, because who benefits if TikTok is shut down? My first guess would be Instagram and Instagram Reels. The Zuckbot. The Zuckbot will benefit. Anyway, here's what Kim.com said. In case you wondered which U.S. politicians are owned by the deep state, just look at those who destroy free speech and vote to ban TikTok. Every single one of them is acting against the U.S. Constitution. What happened to their oath to defend it? They are clearly not working for you. From David Sachs, the TikTok bill gives Biden the power to ban websites and apps run by a person subject to the direction or control of a foreign person or entity, given that Biden routinely smears political opponents as being under the control of Putin. The danger should be obvious. 100%. The bill actually defines a foreign adversary as, and I quote, a person subject to the direction or control of a foreign person or entity. It's very broad. Very, very broad definition of a foreign adversary. Robert F. Kennedy says the so-called TikTok ban is actually a Trojan horse that could allow the president to ban any website or app merely by asserting that it is controlled or guided by a foreign adversary. And Catturd put out a post on Twitter X, the Patriot Act. Don't worry, we're just going after terrorists. We never spy on you. Trump lawfare. Don't worry, we're just going after Trump. We never turn the DOJ and FBI against law-abiding citizens. TikTok, don't worry. We're just going after TikTok. We never go after American-based social media platforms. And just to drive the point home of what's going on here, Hillary Clinton tweeted yesterday, "It's becoming clearer every day. A vote for Trump is a vote for Team Putin." And in her post on Twitter, she has a photo of Trump shaking hands with Orban, which takes you to a BBC article talking about how Trump cozies up to dictators, strongmen and dictators. So why not Truth Social? Today it's TikTok because it's owned by the evil Chinese, and China's using TikTok to subvert America. Why not Truth Social tomorrow? Because Trump is a Putin puppet, and Putin is using Trump, who is a major shareholder in Truth Social, to subvert the U.S. elections or whatever. I mean, why not? Or why not Twitter X tomorrow? Because Elon Musk allows Russia to use Starlink or whatever excuse they can find, and therefore Twitter X is subverting U.S. security, democracy, whatever. Yeah, just like the Patriot Act and everything else that they've done, the lockdowns, you name it, the lawfare. This is the same thing. It's crystal clear that is what is going on here. We really, really need a good web app architecture, something to take us away from the walled garden, right? The walled garden of Android and Apple, and get something that is on the web, that you can access via your mobile device, and it has many of the same features that a native application that you download from iTunes will have, but instead of being controlled by the app stores and by Apple or Google Play, it sits on the internet, on the web. And so if you want to cancel that website or that mobile web app, well, then you have to work on the internet level instead of on the app store walled garden level. Anyway, this is theft, in my opinion. That's all this is. Whatever your opinion is of TikTok, or your fear that China is using TikTok to spy on you or to surveil you or to subvert your youth or condition your youth to go crazy or whatever. That's nonsense. That is nonsense. All this is about is just taking the assets of a Chinese-owned company, taking those assets, stealing those assets, and perhaps benefiting some social media sites like Facebook and who knows who else. But I can see that the Zukbad is going to be very happy about TikTok not being available in the United States. It's going to be a big boost for Instagram, which, by the way, spies on you as well. I mean, if there's one company that spies and surveils you nonstop, it's Meta, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, they're the worst. They are the absolute worst. But one is China, and the other one is the CIA, deep state, whatever. So let's move on now. Enough of that. Let's move on here, and let's talk about tonight's big speech from Little Napoleon, Emmanuel Macron. 2 days ago, he announced that he has an urgent speech to deliver to the French people, and he said that speech will be delivered tonight, Thursday evening, and a lot of speculation. What is Macron going to talk about? What is he going to say? Most likely it's going to be on Ukraine. Most likely it's going to be on something about troops going into Ukraine, maybe, perhaps. Possibly Macron could use the speech to talk about the security pact that passed the parliament in France the other day between France and Ukraine. Maybe he's going to talk about that. Maybe he's just going to declare war on Russia. Maybe Macron is going to address the French people and say, I've had enough. I've had enough. I declare war on Russia. I am Jupiter. I am Little Napoleon, Emmanuel Macron, and I declare war on Russia. Maybe he's going to do that, though I doubt it. I imagine, if I had to take a guess, and I have no idea what he's going to talk about, it could be nothing. It could be something very dangerous, very crazy and very dangerous. It could be something in the middle. But if I had to take a guess as to what he's going to talk about, I would guess that he's either going to talk about the security agreement between Ukraine and France, and he's just going to come out and say, we support Ukraine for as long as it takes, and France has shown that it's going to stand by Ukraine, and Putin cannot win, and he will not win, and we can't allow Putin to win, and just stuff like that. Or he may actually announce that he's going to send French troops into Ukraine in some sort of advisory role, as I've talked about in my past videos, to perform auxiliary tasks and to free up Ukraine soldiers to be sent to the front lines so they could be annihilated by the Russian military. He may announce something like that, and maybe he'll say we even have a coalition of the crazy, France, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland, maybe not Poland, but we've created this coalition, and we're going to start to send some troops in an advisory role into Ukraine in order to help Ukraine achieve victory over Russia. So it could be something like that. Let's wait and see what Macron announces. But he could be having, Macron, he could be having a Bill Clinton, Lewinsky moment All of this could be just some sort of a distraction to distract away from all the troubles he has in France, on a domestic level in France, with the economy, with the farmers and the farmer protests, and various other problems that Macron has on a social, personal level, I guess you could say. Candace Owens videos, but it could be this type of distraction, like what Bill Clinton uh, did with the NATO bombing of Serbia in order to distract away from Lewinsky in the Oval Office. A wag the dog type of scenario. So that could be what this is about. I would not be surprised if all of this is about distracting away from some very, very bad and very damaging domestic issues that Macron is facing, or he's worried about facing. And I won't say anything more there, but he does have an ally in Estonia's Kaja Kallas. Kaja Kallas, Kaja Kallas is, she's just stunning and brave. She's so brave. Standing up to Russia and standing up to Putin. Kallas is so, she is so brave. She's so brave. And she told the parliament in Estonia yesterday that she can't guarantee the parliament that Estonian troops are not going to go into Ukraine and are not going to fight Russia. She can't guarantee that. She basically told the parliament that all options are on the table, including Estonia sending all 10 of its soldiers into Ukraine to fight Russia. Here is what stunning and brave Kaja Kallas said. I do not make such promises because circumstances may change. According to your interpretation, it seems that interference could be defined as anything. Our military assistance to Ukraine could also be regarded by Russia as interference. We have clearly chosen a side here, and this side is Ukraine because Russia is a direct threat to us. Bravo, Kaja Kallas. Bravo. You are the bravest prime minister in all of Europe. They should definitely give Kaja Kallas a job in the European Union. Make her foreign minister. Definitely make her foreign minister of the EU. Give her Jungle Joseph Borrell's job because she's brave. She's just very, very brave. So after the speech from Macron this evening, he is going to travel to Berlin. He's going to meet with Pirate Schultz because they've been going at it, those two. They've been fighting, little Napoleon and Pirate Schultz, and they're going to try to kissy and make up. And then they're going to invite Tusk. A little three-way action, and Tusk is going to be part of this grouping of countries in Europe that are going to present a unified front with regards to Russia and support for Ukraine. Let me read you here what is going on. Macron is scheduled to arrive at the Chancellery in Berlin around noon on Friday for his bilateral talk with Schultz. This is according to Politico. The Macron-Schultz meeting is to be followed by a trilateral discussion with Tusk. The leaders have tried to present the Weimar format as a vehicle for strengthening European security, though it's far from clear that the addition of Tusk to this discussion will help smooth long-standing frictions between Schultz and Macron. Oof, I'm getting all kinds of World War I, World War II vibes from Politico as they describe this trilateral, well, a bilateral and then a trilateral meeting between Scholz, Macron, and Tusk. All kinds of World War I, World War II vibes, huh? Maria Zakharova, she sounded off on Macron's rhetoric over the past couple of weeks and the possible introduction of Western NATO troops into Ukraine. And here is what the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman said. All these statements that Macron and other NATO politicians make about the possibility of introducing contingents or some kind of paramilitary units into the territory of Ukraine are related to the partition of what they see as the remnants of Ukraine. This is what Zakharova said at a press briefing in Moscow the other day. So, a partition of Ukraine, that is what could be at play here, according to Zakharova. And I have to say this. Listening to Putin's interview yesterday, listening to what Lavrov has been saying over the past couple of days with regards to Macron's rhetoric, and listening to Zakharova's statement that she made yesterday, I have a feeling, an impression, and I could be wrong about this, but my feeling is telling me that Russia does not seem to be too bothered or worried about European troops going into Western Ukraine. In Putin's interview yesterday, he said that if Polish troops, if Western troops go into Ukraine, and specifically Polish troops, or he used the case of Polish troops, they're not going to leave. Now, you could imply that Putin is sending a warning, or you could take it that Putin is sending a warning to Poland, but it didn't feel like that's what Putin was saying. Basically, he was also saying that what we could be looking at is a partition of Ukraine, and once Poland enters Ukraine, the west of Ukraine, Putin said other countries will also enter which have historic territorial ties or claims to the western parts of Ukraine, and we'll get a partition and they'll never leave. That's what I got out of Putin's statement. I didn't get a warning to those countries, don't go into Ukraine or else we're going to annihilate you. What I got from Putin's statement was if they go into the west of Ukraine, well then Lviv will go back to Poland, Hungary will take its part, Slovakia will take its part, Romania will take its part, and Ukraine will be dissected. But Putin did give a warning. He gave a specific warning to no U.S. boots on the ground. In the case of U.S. entering Ukraine, boots on the ground, American soldiers in Ukraine, Putin was crystal clear. U.S. boots on the ground, we're going to war. And this could go all the way to nuclear. Though he was very clear that that's not what Russia is looking for, that's not what Russia wants. But he made it a point to say American, U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine will mean that they're going to be seen by us as enemy combatants, and we're gonna go after them. So he did draw a distinction between European troops and American troops, and I found that interesting because going off of what Zakharova is saying here, she's not warning Macron or Western troops that if they enter Ukraine, Russia's going to target them, though that could be what Russia has in mind. This could be a trap. This could be a trap from Russia, saying, yeah, come on into Ukraine, go ahead and try to partition it, and once those troops enter Ukraine, they're sitting ducks, and Russia could annihilate them. So this could be a trap that Russia is setting up. I don't know, but she talks about partition. in this statement that if those troops enter the west of Ukraine, well, Ukraine's going to be partitioned, broken up. She's not saying in this statement, if you enter the west of Ukraine, we're going to see you as enemy combatants. Now, Medvedev, he's taken a bad cop approach. I think Medvedev has been clear. If we see foreign troops, whether they're European or U.S. or whatever, well then, they're fair game. So I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about this. I'm thinking out loud here, and I'm just taking what Putin said yesterday in his TV interview, this statement from Zakharova, and it seems that when it comes to Western troops, collective West troops from Europe in Ukraine, it seems that Russia is not warning them, don't come. What they're saying is Ukraine's going to be partitioned, but they're not saying don't come, because then we're going to annihilate you. But when it comes to U.S. troops, if you step foot in Ukraine, well then you're going to be seen as the enemy. So yeah, interesting comments. But once again, this could be a trap that Russia is setting up for the soldiers of France and Poland and Estonia and Latvia. Come on in. You think you're gonna partition Ukraine? Yeah, come on in. You think you're gonna partition Ukraine? We understand what your plan is. You want to come in. You want to take Lviv. You want to take this part and that part, and you want to dissect Ukraine and take your parts of Ukraine and then move NATO into these new territories. Yeah, if that's your plan, come on in and give it a go. And then Russia unleashes hell on those troops. But we'll see. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's wait and see what Macron says in his speech tonight. Could be nothing, could be something crazy, but we'll take this step by step. One day at a time is how we will approach this. And most likely, knowing Macron, most likely he's bluffing and BSing, and he's trying to play it tough, and he's trying to distract away from his many, many problems that he has going on. But who knows, though? Who knows? he could be going crazy too. Anyway, let's talk about Project Ukraine. And the Financial Times, they put out an article saying that what Ukraine needs right now is of massive mobilization. They're saying that Ukraine needs to rest exhausted troops. That's a direct quote. 300,000 of them. 300,000 exhausted troops need to be rotated out, and new troops need to be put on the front lines, and they're putting that number at 330,000. And so what Zelensky needs to do right away, according to the Financial Times, is mobilize. Right away, Zelensky needs to mobilize. And my question to the Financial Times is, why does Zelensky need to mobilize if Zelensky just 1 month ago told us that only 31,000 Ukraine troops had died in the conflict with Russia? That would mean that, I would imagine, that would mean that Ukraine has more than enough troops to rotate into the front lines to get the 330,000 out and get another 300,000 in, because according to Zelensky, the losses that Ukraine have suffered is way below what the U.S. was speculating. The U.S. had it at 70,000, and Russia has it at 440,000 casualties. So if it's only 33,000, why does Ukraine need to mobilize? Zelensky must have more than enough soldiers to rotate into the front lines without mobilization, because he's only taken 31,000 in losses, according to Zelensky. The European Union, they have approved 5 billion euros in what is being called a Ukraine assistance fund. And basically this 5 billion euros will be used to finance new weapons. And so the European Union was celebrating the approval of this 5 billion Ukraine assistance fund. Once again, it's about financing new weapons. This money's going to buy new weapons to send to the Zelensky regime. And the European Union was celebrating, yes, we approved 5 billion to Project Ukraine. We are all in. Putin will not win. As long as it takes, we're standing by Ukraine. But Politico put out a story, and I'm surprised that this is Politico, but they put out a story and they said that this 5 billion euros in the purchase of new weapons is a mirage. It's a mirage. It's fake. Actually, Politico said it's a Potemkin village, because basically what is going on here is that Europe is not really going to send 5 billion euros in cash to the Zelensky regime to purchase new weapons. What they're going to allow is they're going to allow EU countries who have signed bilateral agreements with Ukraine and have already sent weapons to Ukraine. They're going to allow those weapons that those countries in bilateral agreements have sent to Ukraine, they're going to allow those countries to deduct from their share of the 5 billion. So basically, this entire package is a mirage, a fake. Don't trust the PR, Politico reported. A big chunk of the contributions to the Ukraine Assistance Fund will not actually be in the form of new cash. In fact, EU countries can discount their bilateral weapons shipments as contributions to the fund. Germany has already said that it won't pay 1.2 billion, but will instead count its own arms shipments as its contributions. As long as it takes. We support Ukraine for as long as it takes. Here's 5 billion in new money to Ukraine. But if you've already sent weapons in the past, you can just deduct that amount from your part of the 5 billion euros in assistance funds. Oh boy. Let's do a couple of clown worlds and we will wrap this video up. I read articles like this from Politico, which talk about how much of a bluff all this EU assistance really is to Ukraine, and I go back to what is Macron going to say tonight? Is Macron really going to send troops into Ukraine when we have all of these types of schemes and bluffs and virtue signaling, which is really what this is from the European Union. It's a type of virtue signaling. Look at us. We sent 5 billion to Ukraine. No, you didn't. You're not sending 5 billion euros to Ukraine. That's not what you're doing. But is Macron really going to send French troops into Ukraine? I'd be surprised if he does, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, let's do some clown worlds. And let's see here. Yeah, let's wrap this video up. Let's do some clown worlds and talk about small town girl. Small town girl with a big dream, a very big dream, to make it to the top of the US government and to destroy Russia. Just a small town girl living in this lonely world. She took a midnight train to Columbia University. That is right, Victoria Nuland. She is going to be teaching at Columbia. I believe Hillary Clinton is also teaching at Columbia University. It has been announced that Nuland will be a professor, Professor Nuland, at the School of International and Public Affairs, Columbia University, otherwise known as SIPA, S-I-P-A. Ambassador Victoria Nuland will join SIPA's faculty. Fantastic. Hooray for Columbia University. Hooray for the students that will be privileged, honored to sit in on Nuland's class, to be part of Victoria Nuland's class at Columbia University. What is Nuland going to be teaching in her class? Regime Change 101. How to bake cookies and overthrow a government. how to bake snacks and treats while overthrowing a democratically elected government. How to deindustrialize your allies. How to deindustrialize Germany and blow up gas pipelines. Oh boy, she'll give lectures with the title F the EU. F the EU. That is today's lecture, class. Today's lecture is Diplomacy and F the EU. Is everyone taking notes? Let's begin. In 2014, I called up Ambassador Pyatt and I told him that Yats is our guy and Klitschko, well, he's not going to be the president or the prime minister because he's not all too bright up there. And what about the EU, F the EU? And then I went to Maidan Square and I passed out cookies. Because when you're regime changing a government, it's always helpful to give treats and snacks to the people that are protesting. Yeah. Nuland and Clinton. I do believe Clinton is at Columbia as well. Wow. Wow. Oh boy. Can you imagine being a student at Columbia University? And you're taking a class with Clinton, with Professor Clinton, and with Professor Nuland. I wonder how you're going to turn out when you graduate. I wonder what type of graduates Columbia is going to turn out. Anyway, Ukraine, they tried to invade Russia the other day. I talked about this in my video, and for my video update yesterday, and it was a disaster. It was a complete debacle, an absolute catastrophe. They lost hundreds of men and tanks and weapons and all for what? For some sort of a PR stunt before the elections in Russia. They wanted to say that they had invaded Russian territory and they'd taken over a village and planted a Ukraine flag, and somehow this was going to damage Putin ahead of the Russian presidential elections. They even put out a TikTok video where Ukraine troops claimed to have been in Tyotkino, which is a village in Kursk in Russia. And they put out this TikTok video and they said, here we are in Kursk in Russia. The invasion is on. The invasion is successful. Look at us. We are in Russia right now. And they put out this video on TikTok. And wouldn't you know it, that the interwebs, they started to geolocate. Users on Twitter and Telegram started to geolocate where exactly this video was recorded. And what did they find out? They found out that these Ukraine troops were not in Russia. They were not in Kursk. They were not in Tyotkino. They actually filmed this video in the Sumy region, in a village known as Ryshovka. And they claimed they were in Kursk, but they were actually in Ukraine filming this propaganda video, pretending to be in Russia. Oh boy, that's embarrassing. That is very, very embarrassing. But you know, a little birdie told me that the troops that took part in this PR stunt invasion the other day into Belgorod and Kursk that got annihilated, a lot of these troops were foreign troops. A lot of these troops were trained by France or French mercenaries. And the objective of this PR stunt was to actually make it all the way to a nuclear power plant and to threaten that power plant. That was the PR objective of this entire operation. But they didn't even make it. From what I understand, they didn't even make it over the border. They just got completely annihilated because the Russians were tipped off of this operation, and they were there, ready and waiting. And I read this morning that they're continuing to try to enter Belgorod and Kursk, and they're just getting annihilated. They haven't stopped. they're still trying to get into Russian territory, and the Russians are just picking them off and just destroying these soldiers. So that's I can't confirm this, but that's what a little birdie told me. So let's we have time to talk about one more clown world very quickly. Let's talk about Don Lemon, and he had a special contract with Twitter X. From what I understand, he was going to be like an exclusive or a special content creator for his show, the Don Lemon Show on Twitter X. And his first interview was with Elon Musk, and the interview went so badly that Musk actually broke off the agreement or the contract or whatever they had in place for the Don Lemon Show to be exclusive on Twitter, or to be a Twitter featured content creator or something like that. And basically Musk said that the interview was Don Lemon, CNN, pretending to be an independent social media content creator, but it was really just more CNN nonsense during the interview. And Musk is 100% right. Why would you expect Don Lemon to follow the path of, say, Tucker Carlson, to actually try and be independent? That's not Don Lemon. Even though he's not at CNN anymore, he is and will remain, in my opinion, part of the permanent state and part of the establishment. And so, I don't know why Elon Musk did this interview with Don Lemon. Obviously, they wanted to promote the Don Lemon Show as it was going to be part of Twitter's lineup of exclusive content creators. But why Don Lemon? Why? Why do you put agreements in place with Don Lemon? I don't get it. You know that Don Lemon is not going to change. So why did you sign this type of an exclusive arrangement for Don Lemon on Twitter? Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, Telegram, BitChute, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some limited edition St. Patrick's Day merch, and maybe a bomber jacket or a Portugal long sleeve shirt as well. Take care.